My trading improved exponentially. I mean, it got 100 times better after I started doing these 5 things. Now, the first one that drastically changed things for me is treating trading like a business. It is not a job. It's not a hobby. A hobby you can not take seriously and goof around with, and a job where you consistently just put work in and get money out at a consistent rate. And trading is not like that. You're going to have months where you lose money, months where you make money, or months where you just don't make any money at all. It's going to have ups and downs. And so that makes it hard to consistently keep at going through that roller coaster of your ups and downs with trading. So that's why you have to treat it like a business. A business, when you first start out, you are investing in the growth of the business and building the business. There's so many businesses that take years to actually turn a profit because they are building and growing and investing in themselves because they have a bigger picture future that they are looking towards. That's how you have to think about trading. Is you don't care about what happens right now in terms of how much money you're making. You are focused on the big picture, the potential of in the future. If you put the work in, the research and the time, you can build a successful trading business. And then in the future, it could be a very big business. And that's what you want to be focused on. So many people that I talk to are focused on making money right away. And that is the opposite of what you want to do. That is an Achilles heel. That is going to stop you from potentially even getting to become profitable if you're only focused on the money. Now, it's okay to get into trading because of the money. That's why most people get into it, but you have to be focused on the process and building the business. And so you do not want to be short-sighted when it comes to trading. Look at the longer term. If you can take a year or two to become really, really profitable, well, in 5 years, you're not going to care that it took you a couple years to get there. That's where you need to be focused on the long term. And another shortcut that people like to do is trying to find a strategy or an alert service or copy trading that allows them to just skip that learning process. You do not want to skip the learning process of actually trying to learn how to read a chart, because those alert services are not worth it trying to follow. I tried to follow them when I first started, and it's just not consistent when it comes to actually bringing you profitability. Some of those people might be very, very profitable, but trying to copy and follow is just not that successful. And in the end, you're not actually learning how to trade. You want to build a foundation that you can rely on in the future so that you know that I myself can consistently trade and make this money. I am not reliant on someone else. One thing that was a massive change for me was getting away from either an alert service or indicators and some kind of indicator strategy that said, oh, when you see these two things line up, buy. And then when you see them not, sell. And those seem like a really easy way to trade. And from what I've seen is it's really hard to be actually successful. There's a lot of videos out there that have a lot of different strategies with a lot of different indicators. And in reality, the best way to learn how to trade is just read a naked chart. Don't use any indicators. When I took away the indicators and I spent a couple years just learning to read the chart, that is what drastically improved my trading. And I was able to build a trading foundation myself. Now, a big trap that I fell into when I first started trading was what I like to call is a learning loop. I would try out a strategy for a while, give it a go, and I wouldn't have success right away. So then I would jump to a new strategy. And what this did was I wasn't giving the strategy time to play out. Now, a really big pitfall that a lot of people fall into when they first start out is jumping around from strategy to strategy. It is okay to try a couple ones at the beginning because you do want to find what works for you. There's a ton of different styles out there. You need to definitely spend time trying a few because you might really click with one or a couple might not really work out for how you want to trade. But what you cannot do is spend months and months jumping from strategy to strategy. If you spend a couple months on one and then jump to another just because you weren't consistently profitable with it yet, you have not given that strategy enough time to work out. Trading is a really, really slow progress game. Just because you can't consistently make a strategy profitable right away does not mean it's not a profitable strategy. When it comes to trading, even if you're using a strategy that you learn from someone else, you are going to approach the strategy different. We're all human. We are different in how we perceive things and how we do things. And so even if you're executing a similar strategy and pattern, you're still going to go about doing it slightly slightly different. And so once you narrow down on the strategy you like, you have to stick to one simple strategy and then create a trading plan around that strategy. You want to write down a trading plan that's no more than 1 page, because if it's more, it's probably too complicated, and trading needs to be simple. It's already complex enough. You want it to be as simple as possible, because that will create less variables in your strategy that you have to keep track of. Because once you make that strategy and plan, you then want to execute it for at least 20 trades, and you don't want to deviate from that strategy, even if it is not being successful. You may lose the first 5 trades, but maybe the next 15 you win. And so you have to let things play out, and you can keep track of things and take notes and journal about things that maybe you want to tweak or change, but only allow yourself to change things after something like 20 trades, because then you have given yourself time to see if it plays out, see the ups and downs of that strategy. And so when it comes to that plan as well, is a big thing that people get wrong a lot of the time, end up blowing their account over, is your scaling plan. You have to have a risk management strategy. You cannot be going into trading with, let's say, a $10,000 account and risking $10,000 on one trade, because you don't know when you're going to have a loss. If you lose too much of a percentage, it's going to be a long time for you to recover that percentage. If you lose 50% of your account, you have to get 100% return just to gain that 50% back. Getting 100% return on your account is really, really hard and can take a long time to do. And so you don't want to just blow away a ton of your profits when your sizing isn't good. And so there's a couple ways to manage your sizing. A really common one is taking a percentage of your account. So let's just say you have a $10,000 account and you want to risk, let's say, 5% every trade. And so then you'd be risking, if your account was exactly at $10,000, you would risk $500. And then as your account fluctuates, either going up or down, that dollar amount will go up or down as well. And so this just allows you to stick to an appropriate risk amount per your account size. Another way of doing this is having more of a fixed risk amount. Let's say you have another $10,000 account and you just say, I want to risk $250 every time. The way this works is it keeps your risk the same amount. So in case your account goes up a ton, you're not all of a sudden risking a lot more every trade, which can mentally mess you up. Or on the downside, it allows you to keep that same risk amount so you can try and gain that back more in case your account just has a couple bad losses in a row and you think that's just normal in terms of your strategy. And when you scale up, you would have potential targets of either on the upside, if my account, let's say, doubles, then I increase my size, or let's say if my account goes down 50%, I decrease my size. Now, the number one thing that took me from being a losing trader to a profitable trader was actually what I like to call mental performance, is focusing on my own ability to execute the strategy. And focusing on that allowed me to figure out where I was making mistakes, why I was making mistakes. The hardest thing when it comes to trading, once you have found a profitable strategy, is actually just sticking to that strategy and not getting sidetracked by a ton of other things. And so as you start to learn your trading style and get down a strategy, you're going to start to notice mistakes that you start to consistently do. Maybe you start to get the fear of missing out and jump and chase a potential trade that you see happening. And in reality, a lot of times those turn into losers because it's not actually setting up how your strategy worked, but you for some reason saw a potential pattern and a reason that it could go up and you didn't want to miss out. And so you jumped in the market kind of on an emotional, impulsive trigger, and that ends up giving you a loss. And so there are a ton of different things and emotions that can cause you to make mistakes and deviate from your plan, and beginning to focus on that drastically improved my trading. Another thing with increasing your sizing is focusing and knowing when you can mentally handle an increase in size. Going from, let's say, risking $500 on a trade to risking $1,000 on a trade is a massive jump. And that's going to mess with you mentally, because when you're in a trade, even if you hide the P&L and you don't look at it and you only just see how many shares or options or stocks that you have in play, you still mentally know how much money is on the line. And you can say, okay, if it goes down here, I know I've just lost $1,000. And that is a lot to handle. And so you have to be respectful and knowledgeable and understand where your mental abilities are when it comes to how much you can risk. this. Think of how much your trading size is like a dial. If you increase your trading size, you're going to increase the dial and how much emotion and intensity you have on the trades. And if you just decrease it, it gets a lot easier and you can be calm, cool, and just discipline and focus on, okay, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I need to do, and you can execute your strategy. So the struggle is, finding that middle ground of trying to make more money, but not too high. So it, increases the intensity so much that you end up blowing your account or going on a massive loss streak where you take 6 trades in a day that are all losses and it just kind of blows your account up. And that's happened to me before. And another one, honestly, this is number 6, is don't compare yourself to other people. Don't look at other people on the internet or in chat rooms or wherever you're looking at other people trade. Don't look at how many trades they're taking or how much they're making and let it make you feel like you're missing out or not doing things right. Do what works for you. For me, I trade only a couple times a week. And because I have learned that for me, it works to focus on one simple strategy, one pattern, and wait for that to show up. And that has worked very well for me. And that turned me from being unsuccessful to being a profitable trader. But I still see people, even in my own chat room, that are trading more often than I am. And I feel that pressure of, oh, why am I not trading here? Or why did I miss out on that trade? And so you have to drown out that noise and just not pay attention to it, because there are so many different ways to trade and ways to make a profit. There's always going to be someone making more than you and just doing crazy things too. You don't even know if those people are making money, right? So focus on what works for you. Treat trading like a business and think of it in the long term. And so if you want to learn my strategy that took me from being an unprofitable trader to an actual profitable trader, check out this video right here. I go into every detail that I look for when placing my trades. There's a lot of videos out there that God, that's terrible.